Most people thought he was just the comic relief. Goofy, clueless, and always one step behind. That's how Chumlee appeared when porn stars first hit TV screens. But behind the scenes, he was building something far more unexpected. A sneakerhead with a secret addiction to rare collectibles. A savvy investor buying up real estate, vintage candy, and even launching his own fashion brand. Then everything unraveled. A police raid, felony charges, public humiliation. And yet, Chumlee came back, swinging. What really happened to the most unpredictable star on Pawn Stars? This is the story they didn't show you on TV. Before he was raking in $25,000 an episode, Austin Lee Russell was just a kid hanging around a pawn shop in Las Vegas. He got the nickname Chumlee at age 12, a jab comparing him to a chubby cartoon walrus from Tennessee Tuxedo. Most people would have hated it. He turned it into a brand. By the time Pawn Stars premiered in 2009, Chumlee was already working behind the counter, cracking jokes and getting things wrong. A lot. But that goofy charm, it worked. Fans loved him. He wasn't polished or perfect, but he was real. But here's what most people missed. Behind the scenes, he was quietly transforming into a serious businessman. Not bad for the guy the show originally treated like the village idiot. And the money? It came fast. While Rick and Corey played the straight-faced experts, Chumlee made the audience laugh and laugh and laugh. Chumlee didn't just spend his porn star's money, he curated it. What started as quirky hobbies turned into full-blown obsessions. Over 200 pairs of sneakers, rare Pokemon cards, vintage pinball machines, and luxury cars that looked like they belonged to a rapper, not a pawnbroker. We're talking a Rolls-Royce Phantom, a tricked-out Maserati he customized after dropping $85,000 on it. A 1964 Impala SS. And that wasn't even the flex. The real shock came when he bought a Bowden Spacelander bike for $8,700. A rare collectible worth over $20,000. To most people, these were ridiculous purchases. To Chumlee, they were assets, but it wasn't all smooth moves. He once shelled out $1,500 for a fake Gibson guitar, a $100 knockoff, and in another blunder, he traded samurai swords for $3,800, only to later find out they were worth over $13,000. Still, mistakes didn't stop him. They taught him. Rick Harrison even stepped in, showing him how to spot fakes and avoid getting burned. For Chumlee, every slip-up was fuel. Every collectible, a stepping stone. But while fans saw the sneakers and cars, they had no idea what was coming next. A side hustle no one expected. While most reality stars fade when the cameras stop rolling, Chumlee doubled down and sweetened the deal, literally. With the help of his brother, he opened a candy shop just steps away from the pawn shop that made him famous. It wasn't just a nostalgic gimmick. He stocked it with old-school favorites like Razzles, candy cigarettes, and bottle caps, tapping into people's childhood memories and turning them into sales. But Chumlee didn't stop at sweets. He launched his own clothing line, selling t-shirts that played off his brand. The same guy once mocked for being clueless was now building multiple income streams. While Rick's adjacent ventures fizzled out, Chumlee's shop thrived, boosted by foot traffic, TripAdvisor buzz, and his growing cult following. And the craziest part? He even pitched a spin-off show based on the candy shop. In an interview, he admitted it might not be enough for its own series. But he wasn't thinking small. He wanted to turn the entire pawn district into a mini-media empire. Candy, clothes, branding. Chumlee was stacking moves like it was Monopoly. But while the hustle was real, something darker was building in the background. And what came next? No one saw it coming. Just as Chumlee was riding high, the headlines flipped. In 2016, law enforcement showed up at his Las Vegas home. Not for a collectible appraisal, but for a serious investigation tied to an alleged assault. What they found inside? No one expected. According to multiple reports, the search revealed a stockpile. Firearms, Xanax, marijuana, even crystal meth. Fans were stunned. The lovable goofball from TV suddenly had his name tied to over 20 potential felony charges. But here's where it gets murky. Chumlee was released on bond, and in the following months, a deal was struck. He admitted guilt to lesser charges in exchange for 3 years of probation and counseling. The more serious accusations were never proven in court. To this day, Chumlee hasn't publicly shared all the details. Rumors swirled online, but no clear narrative emerged. Some said he was in over his head. Others believed he got caught in something bigger than himself. What's clear is this: the incident nearly ended everything. From network deals to brand partnerships, his entire image was on the line. But Chumlee wasn't done yet. What came after shocked even his harshest critics. Most reality stars wouldn't have recovered, but Chumlee didn't vanish. He recalibrated. After the legal storm, he stayed low-key, ditching the party boy persona and focusing on what he could control: his health, his businesses, and his brand. Fans began noticing the transformation, physically and otherwise. He dropped serious weight, following in the footsteps of his best friend, Corey Harrison, who had already lost 100 pounds. What started as a personal health decision became a public rebrand. Chumlee began sharing updates online, and the reaction was overwhelmingly positive. People weren't laughing at him anymore. They were rooting for him. And he didn't stop there. He flipped a home in Las Vegas that he bought for $1.1 million back in 2012. By 2019, he sold it for nearly $1.375 million. Not bad for someone the media once called a cautionary tale. Meanwhile, he leaned back into his businesses, quietly expanding his candy store, pushing merch, and investing in what he knew best: nostalgia. Every move was calculated. Low drama, high return. Against all odds, Chumlee was doing what few reality stars ever manage. He was rewriting his narrative. And in true Chumlee fashion, his next act was completely unexpected. Just when you thought Chumlee had settled down, he hit the turntables. No, seriously, he became a DJ. It started small. Saturday afternoon sets at Vegas clubs, spinning hip-hop tracks and mixing beats while rocking a Nerf gun and tossing out candy like it was Halloween. But it wasn't a joke. Chumlee had always been obsessed with hip-hop, especially artists like deadmau5. Now, he was turning that passion into a real hustle. He wasn't chasing fame anymore. He was building community. His sets drew fans from Pawn Stars, sneakerheads, hip-hop lovers, even curious locals who wanted to see if he was legit. And he was. His first big concert, the Gold Spa Day Club in Vegas. He didn't just play, he owned the stage. Invited Rick and Corey up for the chaos. Turned the whole show into a bizarre blend of nostalgia, music, and meme-worthy energy. People came for the novelty. They stayed for the vibe. And once again, Chumlee did the impossible. He turned something unexpected, something most people would have laughed at, into another profitable lane. DJ gigs, branded appearances, merch drops. The joke had become the showrunner. But even with everything going right, there's still one question fans keep asking. From the pawn counter to the DJ booth, from felony headlines to fitness goals, Chumlee's story is anything but simple. He started as the comic relief on a reality show no one expected to last. Now, he's flipped collectibles into cash, built a personal brand, launched businesses, survived a public downfall, and somehow come out the other side more recognizable and profitable than ever. Sure, there were mistakes. Huge ones. But unlike most reality TV personalities who fade into obscurity or crash completely, Chumlee evolved. Not overnight and not without consequences. But he changed. The guy who once couldn't tell a real Gibson guitar from a fake is now the one calling the shots. In sneakers, on stage, in Vegas, and maybe, just maybe, on his own terms. So here's the real question. Was Chumlee ever really the joke? Or was he just playing a longer game than anyone realized?